Hi, I'm Robert Stuck with StuckOnAstro. I am a newbie to astrophotography, and this is my journey as I am learning, as I am not an expert, but I'm going to share with you what I learned, tips, tricks, and some game changers, because I needed that with my astrophotography because I was running laptops, multiple softwares to even try to take images, and it just wasn't working out really well for me. The learning curve is crazy for astrophotography. So I switched to ZWO has an ASI AIR Pro, and I used that for many months and had great success as it changed everything for me. Well, now they've got an update, which is the ASI AIR Plus. Really excited about this one as it has the few added features. One is the external antenna. That was what was horrible about the ASI AIR Pro, was the fact that you couldn't even get 10 feet away, and you had to you would lose connection with your iPad. So I'm really excited to try this out. Just to let you know, I had to pay for this, so you're going to get an honest review. I did get a great discount as part of their Experienced Officer program, but they did not ask for anything but honest review, so that was really cool. So I took advantage of that, and I'm really looking forward to getting out and shooting some more targets on this. A typical style, ZWO really does a good job with their packaging. You feel like you're getting a substantial package. Your product is very well protected. We'll do a quick unboxing. I mean, it's pretty simple. Got their ASI AIR unit in it with the antenna. Then it comes with multiple power cables that are for hooking up your accessories. There is not a 12-volt power that powers the unit itself. You will need to purchase that separately. ZWO does sell that. I think the reason why they do that is because everybody has this different kind of configuration, and it may not be one everybody's using. So you can use a regular DC cigarette lighter style to plug into here, and everything will work fine, but it's not included in the box. This is the power side. There'll be some additional features over the last ASI AIR Pro. Is you have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's LEDs above these you can turn on and off within the unit itself. These are the ones that go to the accessories that you're going to be using. On this side, you have a LAN cable. You have a USB 2.0 and 2 USB 3.0s. On the next side, you have a USB-C that can hook to a PC, but this is for downloading pictures only. There's no communication to the unit itself or control through the unit through this. It is download only. You also have a memory card that you can put in it. It also has internal memory, and you can also use one of your USB slots for a USB memory stick. So on this side, you have your 12-volt plug to power the unit on and off. You have a reset button and a Wi-Fi light, and obviously you have your USB antenna that screws in. It has multiple places to hook up your to a mount or some other form of where you want to hook it up. There's one on the bottom. These two screws come undone, and they will also go here, depending on the unit you use. Okay, here we are getting ready to set up. One thing I love about this ASI AIR Plus is the fact that it's made my setup very, very easy. I'm going to bring my telescope up in a modular setup. First I bring out the tripod, and then I bring out the telescope and everything on the mount, and everything's all wired into there, so I don't have to do any like crazy setup. So that's what's next. So I have a set of pavers that I've put in. They're all level to each other, and I've got my mount pointing north, and I've got some green dots spray painted on here, so I know where to put the legs every time. I'm pretty much setting up at the same place every time, so I don't have to keep leveling, and I'm already pointing pretty close to north, so the polar line will be pretty quick. Brought the mount out, ASI AIR Plus on the top. I'm into the ZWO ecosystem, which I'm great with because they make some great equipment besides this. It ties everything together. Compatible with all ZWO equipment. Compatible with a lot of Canon and Nikon, but outside of that, it's not compatible. So I'm good with this because they make some really great stuff, and I'm all set into that. So all I got to do is get my weight, and my 12-volt generator, and I'm ready to go. So one thing I do about making this very quick, I've got a tape on here so I know exactly where balance is with the weight, so I don't have to rebalance my scope every time. Okay, so that's my initial setup. Pretty quick. Everything's all lined in. I've got my 12-volt power supply. I'm not worrying about running an AC to 12 volts. I'm just running straight 12 volt. I've got a wiring harness built into this. So all the wires in the same place. I got quick connects in there, ready to go. At this point, I'm going to turn on my mount, turn on my ASI AIR Plus. I'm going to remove my covers. I've got my dew heaters on here. All right, here's the simplicity of this whole setup with this ASI AIR Plus. I've got everything on here going to here, my guide scope, my ZWO ASI 533. I've got my ASI AIR Plus, I've got my autofocuser, and my mount. That's what I'm running power. They're all connected in here. I don't have to run a laptop with multiple guiding, anything to process and run the camera. So everything is good to go here. So at this point, what we're going to do is we actually need to connect to the mount itself. So we're going to do that through our settings. And from our settings, we're going to go to our Wi-Fi. And what we need to do is we actually need to set up the connection between the ASI Air and my iPad. I run everything off an iPad. So there it is, ASI Air. Going to connect to that. There's your Wi-Fi connection, so everything else is in place. So after you do your Wi-Fi connection, you're going to go to your ASI Air app. From there, it's going to come up to your first screen. And then what it's going to do here is the fact that I'm going to do a polar alignment from this point right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit, so this is your main control screen. So everything is done off of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera on and start it cooling at the -10 right there. And then I'm going to go back, and then from there I'm going to hit preview, PA for polar align. What it's going to do is it gives you instructions like it does on every page. Whenever you go to something, it's going to tell you, kind of help you when you're guiding and stuff and what to do. Here you're going to hit your start or your play button, and it's going to image for 3 seconds, and then it's going to plate solve, kind of figure out where it's at, and then from there it's going to want to rotate and go to the next spot. So you're going to hit next. The scope is going to rotate 60 degrees and then take another image. And then what it's going to do, it's going to come back with a graph after it's done another place solve, and you're going to have to either adjust the altitude or the azimuth knobs on it to get yourself kind of close, like a normal polar alignment. But this one here is going to give you a graph, and it's going to show you everything you need to do. So it's calculated. Now you're going to hit let's go. So you're going to make some adjustments at this point. Maybe I won't, because I was set up just the other night. So let's go. And it's telling me I'm a little bit off on my azimuth. So I'm going to turn this a little bit and then every time you hit it down there at the bottom, you're going to hit refresh. It's going to shoot again. It's going to plate solve again. It's a little bit off, but I'm a little bit better. So I'm going to move it a little bit more and hit refresh. Ooh, look at that. I'm like right on. So my altitude is off just a little bit. So I'm going to make a little slight adjustment to the altitude. Refresh. And I'm looking for total error of less than 2 is what I'm looking for. So I went a little bit too far, so I'm going to go back the other way a little bit. Refresh. They're little adjustments is all they are, so you're just trying to get it really close. Oh, gave me a smile face. Look at that. I'm at 30 there, so that's good. I'm less than 2, so which is really good. I got a happy face, and it tells me to finish. Now you can tweak more and get it closer and closer if you want. That's going to be plenty. So I'm going to hit finish. It's going to give me a little bit of motivation statement here and tell me how perfect I am at doing this. It's like I'm ultra fast, but if you look, it only took me 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I am fully aligned now. From there, I'm going to go back to get out of this. So you're going to hit PA and then go to preview. And at this point in time, I'm ready to go to a target. So let's do M31. So if I'm going to click your search here and go search. And from there, I'm going to look for, so there's a lot of on here. So there's M31 right there. I'm going to select M31. And these are updating all the time to give you some better targets. I even saw there's some comets on here, planets. So it's good for planetary, good for deep sky. There you're going to hit that green button of go to. It's going to slew. This is pretty much right, probably close to the zenith tonight. Pretty close. It's going to go there, and now what his goal is to do is to put the target right in the center. So it's going to take an image, it's going to plate solve, and it's going to validate whether it's centered or not. So it moved a little bit because it's saying, hey, I looked at where I was at, I wasn't quite where I needed to be, I moved a little bit, and then it will take another image and verify that you're centered. Validating centered or not. Target is centered. Okay, we'll see if it is. One thing I did notice, it actually takes out backlash too. Look at that. That is Andromeda. It's a short exposure, but you can see I am perfect centered right there. So that's really cool. So from here, I'm cooling. I want to take a 120-second image. So over here on your exposure, you can set it to what you want. I'm going to go to 120 seconds because I've shot it before, so I kind of know that's what it is, but you can play around with it. And then from here, I've changed, so I'm going to hit the record button and take another picture. So it's going to tick-tock down to 120 seconds. Okay, we're getting down close here. It's giving you the seconds. 7, 6, 5. It's like lifting off into space. 2, 1. Okay, now it's taking the image. It's going to load it onto the iPad. You can see the bar moving in the bottom. And then, boom, look at that. There's actually looks like there's a satellite or something that ran through there. Pretty high up there. It's not real bright. Okay, which is fine. We can look through that later. So, I am ready to go. So what I want to do now is I want to start my guiding. So if you look, the black rectangle here, that's your RA and deck guiding. So we're going to push our button on that, and then another screen that tells you exactly what to do. So I'm going to hit refresh. It's going to look at a bunch of stars. It's going to pick what it wants to guide from, and then it's going to pick a star, and then it's going to start. Already you can see in the bottom graph right here, it's already starting to guide. So that's pretty cool there. So if you click in the upper left 2 arrows, it'll take you back to the main screen, and now it can see that I'm starting to guide. So total error is 1.4, it's less than 2, so that should be good. So now I'm going to set up an auto routine on how many pictures I want to take, which is really neat because I'm going to go to preview, then I'm going to go to auto run. And then for auto run, I'm going to hit this menu button, and in here it's giving me where my, this right here where it says light, that's the first routine I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on that. This is where you can also do your lights, your bias, your flats, and your darks, but we'll do that in another video. I'm going to do lights. The exposure's at 120 seconds, and I'm only going to take 5 tonight just for this video, and then I'm going to hit OK. And then upper left arrow. Now I'm done. I'm guiding. The camera's cooling. It's down to -9.8. Down on the bottom, you can see my gain is set at 100, where I always have it sit. It's telling me in the meridian flip is an hour and a half. So at this point in time, all I have to do is hit play or start, and it's going to run through that 5 exposures. While I was inside, I finished up. I got 5 of 5. You can see, I have another trail here in my photo. So I'm going to turn my guide scope off. At this point, I'm done. I'm going to close that out. And then from here, I'm done. I don't need to do anything else. So I'm going to go to my mount. And then I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to go to home position and hit OK. And what this does is goes back to its home position. That way, whenever I'm shooting again the next night, all I got to do is put it on my spots and boom, ready to go. So this ASI Air, you can see how quick and fast it is to do everything. It's speeded everything up from me setting up. I don't have to set up multiple cameras. I run everything off of here. I'm not bending down, hurting my neck and my back and my knees. And it's tied into all my equipment. So I've just made it so much easier on how I set this up, how I shoot. All my software that I use is all here in this control panel, and everything is great. So I love that, and think it's perfect. So I'd highly recommend this. The Wi-Fi signal was really good. I was in the house, never lost it. So I'm about 30 feet into the house with a wall in between. I've not gone any farther, but I think that's pretty good for what I was doing, because I'm in North Carolina and it is 34 degrees, so it's getting cold. I'm not a big fan of being outside in the cold, so I can shoot this, go in, enjoy, and then come back out. So highly recommend this.